Guys, this is Palmy Pro Box Respect TKO. I'm at the Savoy Hotel, Frank Warren Promotions, with trainer Dominic Ingle, trainer to Billy Joe Saunders, Kell, Brook, etc. Dom, how you doing, mate? You all right? Yeah, good, mate. Yeah, nice venue here today.
It is a lovely venue. I think last time I was here a few years ago, I was having lunch with Frank Warren. So it is a nice hotel, the Savoy.
Yeah, maybe you have another one today as well.
Oh, you never know.
You never know. How's New Year's and stuff? I know it's a few weeks ago. How was that for you, mate?
Yeah, we was out in Fortaventura training. We had Kell Brook out there, Kid Galahad, a few other fighters. Kell Brook's getting ready for his fight, and obviously we're back out on Sunday. With Kell Brook, Kid Galahad, and Billy's joining us this time. He's got 11 weeks for his fight. Yeah. He's in a good place, and he's looking forward to the warm weather training, some hard graft.
Yeah. But you mentioned about Kell's fight coming up. I think Eddie's always said, about his weight, and obviously coming in, he's now looking at super welterweight. Is that definitely his preferred weight now?
Well, yeah, I think so for the time being. Obviously, if the Corn fight comes on, there might be a change there. There might be a catch weight. We'll have to wait and see. Yeah, it's going to take something really big to motivate him to get back under 11 stone. But at the minute, he's comfortable where he is. He's making the weight good, and we'll have to wait for the performance in March, see what he looks like at that weight, and take it from there.
Yeah, and obviously Khan's fight, I think it's 21st of April. I think. Yeah. Now, that should make things a little bit easier with having Eddie in the middle now for both guys, right?
Yeah, but luckily I don't have that problem. It's a mind game, that game, dealing with fighters and how much money they want and where they want it and who's coming out first and who's having the ring walk music. There's lots of, dynamics to that kind of thing, but luckily I've just got the job of training somebody, so, somewhere down the line I would have thought it will be a little bit easier, but don't hold your breath.
Dom, you also, I've seen, as I mentioned to you off camera, mate, I'm going to have to nick some of those recipes because some of that food you've been stirring up for the boys looks really good, mate. Yeah, so you're a chef as well.
You've got to keep on the healthy option. I mean, obviously after Christmas everybody likes to overindulge, and directly afterwards you've got to keep on the weight, keep the food interesting. And we had 2 weeks in Fortaventura over New Year's, and we had to keep it interesting. Kell Brook, lost a good amount of weight. He got himself in a good place, while everybody else is piling the calories on and thinking about going to the gym. We're already out there doing it. Yeah. So it's keep it interesting, keep the food interesting, keep the training interesting, and like they say, a happy boxer is a dangerous fighter.
Absolutely. Well, to be honest, Don, even if you look at Kell's last fight with Errol Spence, he came in fantastic shape. So, you obviously, you're keeping them very happy. Don, before we talk about the Martin Murray fight, I just want to say, just like everybody else who's been giving you guys accolades for the performance against David Lemieux, so excellent performance from you guys as a team, and especially Billy Joe Saunders. But as you guys said, for a lot of people I've been seeing Billy in the TKO gym for about 5 years, so for a lot of us it wasn't a surprise, but he still came into the fight as a bit of an underdog, didn't he?
Yeah, but I think people have measured him as the underdog on his past performances, and I think even with the William Monroe fight, people thought, well, he's with this new trainer, he's still not doing anything fantastic. But what people don't realise with that fight, that was more or less a warm up for the Lemieux. It was a case of making weight and getting him fit within a 12-week period. There was only so much he could do. Yeah. And he easily controlled William Monroe. But I said to Billy, it's going to be the next fight when this camp, the training that you're doing, the dieting, the way you're training is going to really come into place and showcase you. And we weren't wrong with that. He put in a fantastic performance against Lemieux, and he said, you know what, Dominic, you were right. He put a good 6 months in training, and it paid off on the night.
Dom, I remember you saying that actually in the press conference after the fight as well. And something before I forget, because you guys mentioned his name, and I know Amir Khan's back in the fold, but you're totally focused on Martin Murray. But you did mention at the time, or even Billy said that a fight with Amir Khan would interest him. Is that something still out there?
Well, I don't know. He's looking for names to fight in this game. You want to be fighting big names in a big draw. Yeah. Amir Khan has been up heavy. I think the way that Billy makes weight, he can actually get below 11.6. He could actually get to 11 stone. It'd be hard. Yeah. But for a mega fight, he'd do it. And that's the thing. You look at the fighters jumping up weights, coming down weights to make the fights that people want to see. It's an interesting combination. So obviously, we'll have a look at Khan in his next fight. I don't think Khan's ever going to go above 11 stone. No. I don't think Billy's going to come below. But you never know with money and demand, and we have these what-if scenarios. So we can always wait and see.
Dom, you obviously work with Billy day in day out at the gym. Me watching it live. Box Nation, it was no surprise, but still it was a huge wow, for a lot of us, I think, as fans watching it live. How was it for you there live, and what was you saying to him in the corners in between the rounds?
Yeah, after the first 2 rounds, it was like, it's quite easy. It was a case of keeping Billy switched on.
Yeah.
Because he did say after the fight, he says, I just kept thinking to myself, this is too good to be true. Something's going to happen in a minute. He says, and I was in real danger of switching off. I losing a bit of focus. I think one of the rounds, I remember Lemieux catching Billy with a body shot, which took the wind out of Billy's sails a little bit, and then Billy got back on again and gave him a beating.
Yeah.
But really there wasn't much to say because the work had been done in the gym, the game plan had been practiced in the gym, in the change room before the fight. We worked out a couple of decent shots, 4 or 5, shots to put on Lemieux. Billy, executed them all to perfection, and from there really he was on autopilot. He was just doing what he'd been doing in training.
Yeah.
And that's the way I like to operate. There's not too much you can say in between rounds, only when it's going wrong. But realistically, the way Bill trained, the way he was following instructions, he shouldn't have really gone wrong because he had an answer for everything that Lemieux did. So, it was almost sit back and enjoy the moment.
Yeah, Dom, and obviously he's relishing the partnership with you, and there must be times when, obviously, because of, as you say, you clearly have a great partnership, but there must be times when you have to come down tough on somebody like Billy's character.
To be honest, no, because he does as he's told. That's the thing about, I remember having a lot of messages coming towards me when it was first announced Billy was training with me, saying, it's going to be hard work, he's going to be this, he doesn't do as he's told. But the thing is, I had to laugh when Steve Mailer was saying about Terry Flanagan, it's going to make his job easier. I felt like saying to Steve, when has it ever been easier, Steve, training fighters? Because there's no such thing as, easy and training fighters don't go hand in hand.
Yeah.
But, Billy does knuckle down. He listens. He doesn't give any back chat. He doesn't, say, I want to do this, I want to do that. He just listens. If you get it wrong, he's going to have something to say about it. But so far, we haven't got it wrong. So, he's easy work, Billy. He's easy work, and I think just being in Sheffield and being around the right environment, even now in between fights, you can see he's living properly. He's always got boxing at the back of his mind, but before I think he just switched off, forgot about boxing, did his thing before he came back into camp again. So he said he'd never done more than a 6 or 7 week camp. Well, it's a standard 12-week camp for us in Sheffield. That's the way he starts off. So he doesn't want to get left behind. There's plenty of competition in that gym. We've got new kids coming in. We've got Jason Quigley, a few other kids coming in. And Billy can see them kids, these fresh kids who are full of ambition, and that keeps him motivated again because he's got to keep them kids from snapping at his heels.
And Jason's, I know Jason from, I know he's been based in LA for a while, wasn't he, before he came over? How's he getting on?
Yeah, just like Billy's fitting in straight away, great character, loves the crack, loves being around the guys like Billy and Kell. Yeah. He wants to be where they are, and he's 26, he's got a year or two yet. He's got the potential to do it, and hopefully being in this gym around the good fighters and relocating in Sheffield will give him the boost he needs. And
that's obviously good sparring for Billy and for Jason as well.
Yeah, he's had a sparring session with Kell last week. Good sparring session, nothing too dramatic. He'll probably do a little bit with Bill, but really I don't want these guys doing too much sparring with each other. It takes something away. You need to have guys from outside of the gym, who aren't going to get into a what can I say? I don't want my fighters like Billy Kell and Jason Quigley knocking lumps off each other, because that's how competitive it'll get. Yeah. 1 or 2 rounds is alright early on in camps when it's just all light hearted, but when it comes closer to a fight, you've got to be very careful with the sparring partners. So hopefully we'll get some decent sparring for Jason from outside of the gym, and we'll see what he's really capable of.
As I mentioned to you, mate, off camera as well, and you probably saw it on social media, I was out in Vegas, and one of the gyms I was at was Mayweather's, and they certainly do knock lumps out of each other. And
I've been to Mayweather's gym, I've seen Jay Leon Love fighting and various ones, right. And that's the way, they breed them tough in America. Yeah. But, you don't, in my opinion, every time you have a hard spar, it takes something away from you before you fight. And one of the smartest guys I ever talked to, Ricky Hatton, the way he fought, his fights were full on, slugfest for 12 rounds.
That's
and
right.
We used to take guys over to spar with him, and he'd never do more than 4 or 6 rounds. He said, Dominic, because why do I need to be getting lumps knocked off me in sparring? Because I do that in a fight. He goes, it's down to fitness. He goes, once I can do 4 rounds, I know what I'm doing. I can do 12 rounds. Yeah. He says, and I very rarely do more than 6. And he didn't. And look at the great career he had. Definitely. And he was a smart fighter, worked it out for himself. And then I hear some fighters, sparring 12 rounds 3 or 4 times a week. You know, fair enough, that's all right. But what's going to happen after boxing? You know, in 20 years' time when you've packed up, that's when the effects of that all kick in. And this game's about making your money, making your mark in the world, and you know, being able to live your life afterwards. There's so many sad stories about fighters who, you know, end up in a bad way. You know, recently, a guy who used to train with us, Harold Graham, not in a good place at the minute, and it's sad to hear because he was a great fighter, a great advocate for the sport, and it's sad to hear. And you know, it's what happens after the career finishes. There needs to be things in place, you know, care in place. But the main thing is that when they are fighting and they're young and they're fresh, to make sure that they're not getting abused, they're not getting too much hard sparring, they're not getting thrown into fights they shouldn't be in. You've got to think about what happens after boxing.
Absolutely. And just while we're on camera, Harold, wishing you all the best. Great guy, as you say. Just very quickly, I know you're not going to look past Martin Murray, as you say, a great warrior. This is his 5th attempt at a world title fight. Probably could have been, as Billy said, a 2-time world champion by now. But after this fight, do you think there is the potential to make one of those super fights with Gennady Golovkin?
I think so,
or
because
CANELO?
you've got to look who's going to be left for Golovkin and CANELO to fight. You know, that's the thing you've got to look at realistically.
It's got to be Billy, isn't it?
It's got to be Billy. If I was Golovkin, I've said this before. If you want to go down to the record books, you know, look at Joe Calzaghe. What a great ambassador for the sport, unbeaten.
Absolutely.
You know, looking back now, is how great he was. Never got the recognition during his career.
Yeah.
Golovkin, realistically, he's had a great career. He's got the belts. But if he wants to go down in the record books, you know, like I think Bernard Hopkins was the last fighter who had all the belts.
Yeah.
WBO, WBA, IBF, WBC. And I think if Golovkin wants to get anywhere near that, he's got to have that WBO belt.
Yeah.
You know, regardless of who it is, he's got to have that belt to go down in the books as the proper unified champion. Because unless he's got that WBO belt, for me, he is the world champion and he's very, very good. But he's not the unified champion because some other champion's got that belt.
And he's always said that that's his goal. So he seems that he would eventually have to. Let's assume he comes past CANELO, and obviously Bill's going to come past Martin Murray. Yeah. That's surely the most sensible fight because he's saying, I want all the belts. So there's one belt still outstanding.
There's one belt outstanding. You know, go back to Tyson. I know how many years we talked about that fight for.
Yeah.
You know, it didn't happen at the peak of their careers, but it was still a good fight. I personally think it would have been a different fight a couple of years earlier. You know, I think Tyson was much better than he was. You know, Lennox Lewis lived a better life.
Yeah.
And realistically, it's like Golovkin. There's only so many fights. You know, he's having tough fights, but he's performing well.
Yeah.
But you just can't go on forever. Nobody ever can. No. You know, look at Lennox. Sugar Ray Leonard after he boxed Hagler. You know, great performance, but a few years later, you know, got beat by kids who should never got beat. He went on a bit too long.
Yeah.
So it's going to come to some point with Golovkin where, you know, he's just going to go a little bit too far. Maybe he's not, you know, in a position where he thinks to himself, you know, analysing like Billy has said, I've got another 2-3 years. Maybe he thinks he can go on forever, I don't know. But at that age, 34, 35, the only time you find out when you can no longer go on is when you get beat in a fight.
Don,
you don't know before.
Exactly. Don, very respectful press conference up there. All of you guys had some great words to say. A lot of respect between Martin Murray and Billy Joe Saunders as well. Now, this is a voluntary defence, right? And what was the choice? Because obviously Martin's been in between Arthur Abraham, Gennady Golovkin, Felix Strum. What was your reasoning behind taking this fight?
I think this fight was, you know, potentially going to be in December instead of the Lemieux fight because that was up in the air a little bit with his injury and negotiations. So I think, you know, Martin Murray's had really known about this fight for quite a while.
Right.
I think he thought he was going to get it in Christmas. He'll have been training. And, you know, I'm always a bit concerned when press conferences are all nicey because, you know, everybody's giving each other praise, but when it gets into the ring, it turns out to get nasty.
Yeah.
So, you know, I'm a bit wary of that. Never underestimate Martin Murray. He's a very cagey, clever fighter. He's been around the scene. You know, very respectful fighter. But I think, you know, he was promised this fight before Christmas. He didn't materialise. He's been on the back burner, ready. He's had plenty of time to get ready for this fight. And like I say, you know, realistically, apart from Daniel Jacobs, which I'm not really interested in, I think this is a better fight, style-wise, for both fighters. It's a fight what's going to, you know, get people interested in Billy. He's a tough fighter, Martin. He's done 11 rounds with Golovkin. It's another one of those situations where they're going to mark Billy's performance against Golovkin and see where they're at. So far, he's had easy fights against Monroe. He's had an easy fight against Lemieux, and you know, hopefully, he really needs to go out and put a display on Billy for this fight. He needs to really be stopping Martin Murray to make a statement and get himself, to become, even more considered for fighting Golovkin.
Not looking past it, but obviously he's his 5th attempt. He's 35 years old. What do you think? Do you still think he's got enough in the tank to trouble Billy?
Listen, never underestimate any fighter. Look at Truex against James DeGale.
That's right.
You know what I mean? I think he's been beat once or twice at a decent level, maybe in a world title fight.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. In boxing, anything can happen. Anything can happen. Never write anybody off. If a fighter's prepared to get into the ring to fight, you've got to be expecting that fighter's come to win.
Yeah.
So Martin Murray knows where he's at. He's had plenty of notice, more notice than people realise. And he's surprising when people's backs up against the wall, what they pull out of the bag. So, some people might think, why is he fighting, Martin Murray? It's a dangerous fight, and it'll be an interesting fight, and it'll be interesting to see how it goes.
In terms of their different styles, how do you see the fight going, Dominic?
Listen, if Billy's not 100% switched on, it'll be a 12-round fight, and it could be pretty boring.
Yeah.
But Billy's got to go out and make a statement. He's got to go out and put it on Martin Murray. He's got to give him everything he can and try and stop him in his tracks, because that's the result. What he's got to be putting through 12 rounds with Martin Murray. Billy's got to make him fight and have a go at him and show that he can when he needs to. He can take people out. We've had a 12-round boxing display with Lemieux. For Billy really to make a statement, he's got to stop Martin Murray.
So could potentially see him becoming a bit more offensive, maybe a bit like the Andy Lee fight, possibly?
Yeah, he's got to take it to him. He's got to try and knock the stuffing out of Martin Murray and make him realise that it's a young man's game, this, and if he gives any leeway to Martin will keep himself in that fight and get through 12 rounds and cause Billy problems. Billy's got to really put it on him, make a statement.
Dom, I know you said you wouldn't be interested in the Daniel Jacobs fight, but let's be real, because even Frank said a couple of times now, contract's been put in front of CANELO and Gennady Golovkin. Anyway, I interviewed Billy out in Marbella last year, so it's been a year since Billy's been saying, "Look, Gennady, fight me." Now, if that fight potentially doesn't happen next, and it may be till the end of the year, doesn't Jacobs come up as a potential?
But does he get Billy any further in front? That's the thing. People might say that Martin Murray don't get Billy any further in front, and they'd be right. He's just got to make interesting fights, because realistically, where Billy's at, the fights he needs is CANELO or Golovkin.
Right.
So forget Jacobs. It's not like getting him any further in front. There's other guys he can pick and choose who he wants to. We're going to give him a decent fight. So I don't worry too much about that opponent wise. I leave them type of headaches to Frank. He seems to be good at sorting them out. I'm sure he'll pull something out of the bag eventually.
Sure. Dom, obviously Billy said that he sees himself in the game for another couple of years. I agree with you and Frank. I think he's got at least a good 4 years. Yeah. Do you see him stepping up? I mean, we've talked about him potentially coming down to maybe 11 stone if the fight was right. You see him stepping up?
He doesn't need to step up really, unless it's some kind of fight what's going to be interesting. It's going to be a big money fight. He makes the middleweight quite easily. Yeah. And I always remember years ago Kelly Pavlik being a machine at 11.6 and then stepping up to a catch weight and getting beat. So what makes you good at one weight sometimes nullifies when you go up a weight. I'd be happy to keep him around middleweight. He makes it easy enough. It's just we just need the opponents now.
Excellent. Dom, listen, wishing you guys all the best for 14th of April onwards, even with Kell, Brook as well. And it's always a pleasure to catch up, mate.
No problem, mate.
Take care, mate.
Lovely.